working in cohesion with Dave Pagnotta over the weekend of the fourth period. Sounds like there's mutual interest between Mangiapane, who's slated to become a UFA. He is going to market, as far as I know, after 1 year with the Washington Capitals and the Maple Leafs. If you do recall, he played for Brad Treliving in Calgary. He's a 29-year-old winger. He's from Toronto, Ontario. That's important to keep in mind. And he played 81 games last year, 14 goals, 14 assists, 28 points. I believe in 10 playoff games, he had 1 goal and 1 assist. But this is certainly a guy who I think had high expectations maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, and unfortunately just never really bounced back after his first down season. And maybe there's some value to be found in this next contract here.
Yeah, well, talking to some Flames fans of mine, everyone seems to love him. Magpie, they call him. And he kind of had a pop-off year, signed a big contract, and then just one of those guys that signed a ticket and I'm not going to say shut it down, but just instead of flourishing and taking that step and saying, I am that guy, kind of went the other way. And you've seen it a million times, a guy like, God, we had such expectations of you. We thought you were on the cusp of doing X, Y, Z. So we gave you the contract and you not only didn't do that, but you maybe even took a step backwards. But, fit and parcel is everything, I think, in this game. And he's got a lot of high qualities to him. A lot of the Flames fans liked him. Obviously, I'm around the area, and a lot of people are pretty intimate with that team. I've watched the Flames a fair bit too, and I think he checks some boxes for sure. It's just there's that unknown, right? Like, what is he? Is he going to stand out, or is he going to blend in?
The other thing I'd bring up too, I think there's going to be some sticker shock with some of the contracts handed out this summer, because we got to remember the salary cap's going up. And when that happens, the prices go up, right? So normally a guy who's $3 million this year, last year, is going to turn into a guy, maybe he's 5.5, maybe he's $5 million. And I think Mangiapane is the perfect example of that. I know the contract expectation came out last week of like a Trent Frederick, and it was more about the term, but a lot of people are like, wow, $3.9 million. But you got to remember, I think in the salary cap before it going up the way it's going to this year and next year and the year after was probably, a $2.5-3 million range. But I think that changes. So I do think in general, there's going to be sticker shock. But when you look at Mangiapane, I think he makes a lot of sense. I think there's going to be value any way you slice it in the next contract he signs, probably a multi-year contract. Who knows what the dollar amount is, but I think he's a guy, from my perspective, you bring him into the Maple Leafs, he's not in my top 6. He's going to play probably on my third line. If he can score 15 to 20 goals, I feel you're probably in a good spot. And he's a guy who comes, especially in a place like Calgary, knows a bit about the system. I know Craig Berube wasn't there, but Sutter was there. Like, he's a guy who knows about the grinding way of life. And I'm not opposed to a Mangiapane coming in here.
Yeah, I hear you. And here, thinking about him on the third line, kind of more of an established guy that you can kind of rely on. And
yeah,
I mean, he stands out when he plays. You notice him. He can be dynamic. He's not, this pure skill dancer out there. Like, he can get in there and get dirty. And I think he works hard. Checks some boxes for sure. But it is funny the way the contracts are these days. I mean, when I was playing, 7 million was kind of like that, your top guy on your team. And then, Sid and some of those guys were at 8.7. Sid's been at for his entire career. But that 8 was like superstar status. And then the rest of the big dogs were kind of like 7. Like, I think Dion and Phil and those guys in my era were at 7. And that was like, whoo, money. And now, third liners are looking at $6 million and stuff. It's good for the league. It's, inflation, everything's higher, but and I'm going back a ways dating myself, but be prepared for some raised eyebrows at some of the numbers that are getting thrown around, but that's going to become the norm here.
Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.